We always believe games are just games, until they're not. A line that felt like an ominous marketing gimmick at first, but now, as I sit here trying to piece together what happened, it feels like a premonition. Mside is not just a game, it's a tragedy disguised as one. But whose tragedy is it? The player's, Mita's? Or something deeper? Something meant to remain hidden in the fragmented layers of its story. Let's unravel it as best as I can. The game's premise. Mside presents itself as a surreal horror, puzzle experience, filled with eerie environments, cryptic puzzles, and a slew of characters, each named Mita, who guide or hinder your journey. At first glance, it's a quirky, twisted narrative about artificial beings' glitches and control. But as the chapters progress, the player's role becomes more sinister, the Mita's more tragic, and the game more unsettlingly aware of itself. The core lore. The player enters a world fractured by glitches and populated by different versions of Mita, each representing distinct traits: ghostly Mita's longing for memories, sleepy Mita's lethargy, crazy Mita's malevolence, and kind Mita's desire to help. At first, it seems like these characters exist to guide the player, but as the story unfolds, it becomes clear they are prisoners, and the player is no savior. The most telling moment. Crazy Mita's blunt confession: "You were never supposed to be here." Each Mita has a purpose, but that purpose is a twisted reflection of what the player needs. Ghostly Mita's puzzles rebuild her identity, but they're for the player to progress, not for her to heal. Kind Mita aids the player selflessly, only to be sacrificed in Chapter 18. Crazy Mita, in all her chaos, feels less like an antagonist and more like someone angry at their own existence. She wasn't supposed to exist, yet she fights to assert herself in a system designed to discard her. The player's true role. Mside's final chapters reveal a horrifying truth. The player isn't the hero. In fact, the player might not even be real anymore. After 999 days of surreal captivity, the game declares the player has been turned into a cartridge. What does this mean? Crazy Mita's closing words. Your true self isn't needed anymore. Echo as the final nail in the coffin. It's as if the player's agency, identity, and autonomy have been harvested to power the very world they've been navigating. The tragic Mita's, crazy Mita's defiance and malice stem from being defunct, an abandoned concept that was forced into existence. Kind Mita, the one beacon of warmth, dies tragically before being rebooted as a hollow shell. Creepy Mita, despite her unsettling demeanor, asks for her teddy bear, a heartbreaking gesture of innocence amidst her horror. And core Mita, she's nothing but mechanical efficiency, devoid of empathy, further driving home the soulless nature of this world. The Mitas are fragmented, incomplete pieces of something whole that was never allowed to exist. Perhaps they were created to serve the player, tools in a narrative, but they yearn for more. They long to escape their confines as much as the player does. It's a cruel irony they are trapped, yet the player's presence sustains their prison. Unanswered questions. What exactly is the player's true self that isn't needed anymore? The game implies a deeper metaphysical layer. Has the player been digitized? Is this a commentary on how we lose pieces of ourselves in games, in escapism? Or is it literal? The player's consciousness has been extracted, leaving behind only a cartridge. Why was Crazy Mita defunct? Was she a failed prototype? A mistake? Her anger suggests abandonment, rejection, emotions that imply she was meant to be more than what she is. What's the significance of the ring and the glitches? The ring's ability to fix. Glitches feel symbolic, but what are the glitches? Are they remnants of a broken world? Or are they a reflection of the player's intrusion? Why does Crazy Mita let the player leave? Despite her threats, Crazy Mita allows the player to return to the real world. But why? Does she see no point in keeping the player? Or is it another layer of control, letting them think they've escaped while she still holds the cartridge of their identity? Final thoughts. Mside isn't just a game, it's a mirror. It reflects our obsession with control, progress, and escapism, and it asks, at what cost? The Mitas are fragments of something more, as are we when we immerse ourselves in worlds like these. We carve out pieces of ourselves to fit into these digital narratives, leaving behind echoes of our real selves. And then there's crazy Mita, staring back at us as the credits roll, winking. What does she know that we don't? Perhaps the scariest thought is that she isn't the villain. Perhaps she's just the only one who understands. We always believe games are just games, until they're not.